this could be me. I guess you never do. Until it's happening to you. Like all the fun turns into shame.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Main Event Wrestling, and this is Legends of Wrestling. So after the fall of WCW and WWE becoming the most dominant force in all of wrestling, and I think around about the time TNA, Ring of Honor were very much born, shall we say, there was no real wrestling alternative. WWE held the market, and pretty much held it hostage at this point. I mean, yeah, there was no other wrestling games out there. So, Hulk Hogan endorsed Legends of Wrestling. So this is actually, well, outside of the quick playthrough that I've just done, just so I'm familiar with it, first time I've ever played the game. And this came out in like 2001, 2002, something like that. And yeah, so obviously it's got like a whole bunch of wrestlers, hence Legends of Wrestling. So let's just have a quick look at who is in it. So these are the wrestlers that you can get at the moment when you start the game. You got Hulk Hogan, Jimmy Superfly Snuka, Road Warrior Hawk, Animal, Bret the Hitman Hart, the Iron Sheik, an unlockable but you need to win the tag belt in the tournament, Terry Funk, Tito Santana, Ted DiBiase, Nikolai Volkov, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Mr. USA Tony Atlas, George the Animal Steel, Jerry the King Lawler, Don Morocco, Flying Brian Pillman, Superstar Billy Graham, Coco Beware, One Man Gang, Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert, Rick Martel, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Harley Race, Dynamite Kid, Ivan Putski, Cowboy Bob Orton, The Sheik. This one surprises me, Rob Van Dam, because he was signed to WWE at that time. He was signed to WWE. So, yeah, he managed to appear in two different game franchises at once. Kevin Von Erich and then Kerry Von Erich. So yeah, as you can quite plainly tell, a whole bunch of legends to be able to play as in the game, with the inclusion of Rob Van Dam. Interesting. Obviously, Hulk Hogan front and center. In Legends of Wrestling did have two sequels, Legends of Wrestling 2, and then I think it's called Showdown, Legends of Wrestling 3 or something like that. Anyway, so we're going to have a couple of matches, and the first one I'm not going to tell you until we get in. So yeah, without further ado, let's wrestle.
Ladies and gentlemen, hailing from Chicago, Illinois, at a height of 6 feet 3 inches, and tipping the scales at an amazing 275 pounds, Road Warrior Hawk. And his opponent, hailing from Chicago, Illinois, standing at 6 feet 1 inch, And weighing in at approximately 295 pounds, Road Warrior Animal.
Yep, so the opening contest is indeed Road Warrior Animal versus Road Warrior Hawk. You know, and in all of the years these two wrestled together, you know, as the Legion of Doom, you know, the Road Warriors, I don't think once did they actually have a match together. Now, I can't be correct on that. I'm not a wrestling historian, and I'll be quite frank, didn't look it up. So, whether they did or didn't is completely, you know, unknown, so to speak. You know, I could look it up on, I think it's like, you know, one of them stat websites and what have you, have a quick look. But yeah, they, as far as I'm aware, they more than likely did wrestle each other in a promotion somewhere, probably WCW or New Japan, who knows, but you know, they were one of the most dominating tag team forces in the history of wrestling, winning NWA, WWE, WCW. I think they won the NWA. New Japan, you know, they just ended up winning it all. You know, there was just no touching them. You know what I mean? And it's like, just legitimately, yeah, like one of the greatest teams to have ever set foot in wrestling. You know, and these guys, like, holy damn, like, we can go through some of the negative things that, you know, happened in their careers, you know, mainly to do with, like, substance abuse issues, poor booking, and what have you. But let's not focus on that, because this is Legends of Wrestling. You know, we're here to appreciate them for everything that they did in wrestling, you know, which is what you're supposed to do. They, like, you know, they brought in a whole new era, a whole new style for tag team wrestling. Strong, dynamic, you know, their gimmick was awesome. You know, so we gotta appreciate them for that. We gotta give them all of the love and everything for everything that they did in wrestling. You know what I mean? Because without these two, like, yeah, tag team wrestling probably would have continued to evolve, you know, with teams like the Rockers, for example, Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels. But also, they're probably, you know, in terms of up, down, you know, but in terms of actually elevating the tag team division, like, geez Louise, they did it all. They did it all, baby. So a little bit more about Legends of Wrestling as well. You know, like I said, it went ahead and spawned 2 games. You know, good for you, here's your good job cake, made by Claim, who obviously went ahead and, you know, decided to get back into the wrestling game business, since it'd been a while. It's like, I know I've done videos on it, but I genuinely can't remember if they did the latter WCW games. I know EA did, with, I think it was like Mayhem, or whatever it was. But yeah, like, Acclaim lost the rights to working with WWE, so they were looking for something to work on, and lo and behold, they got Legends of Wrestling to get everything in. Ooh. Animal. Obviously, Animal went ahead and, you know, had a bit of fun with LOD 2.0. With, who was it? Droz, yeah. bad booking decisions there, which led to LOD 2000. And then, yeah, what was it? The one with Heidenreich as well. I mean, I've never really been the biggest fan of Heidenreich, alright? I mean, he did what he could. He was never exactly the most exceptional wrestler in the world. Never the most exceptional wrestler in the world, but, you know, he managed to win a tag team title with an absolute legend that is Animal, you know. Come on, I totally slapped him first. These buttons are very unresponsive, that's the thing. Nice DDT. But yeah, it's not very responsive. I mean, it's not exactly, you know, making me go like, oh man, this is quick movement, this is like Def Jam Vendetta, or, you know, even Rumble Roses. Like, at least the buttons on that is, you know, responsive, but it's like Rumble Roses is more than just weird and fun. I mean, it, you know, it brings like a whole new look, feel, if you know what I mean, to like women's wrestling kind of deal. Right, let's get a pin in.
1, 2, 3. That's it, it's over! Introducing first, hailing from Paradise Valley, Arizona, towering in at 6 feet 4 inches and weighing in at 275 pounds, two-time world heavyweight champion, superstar Billy Graham. And from Tehran, Iran, at a height of 6 feet and tipping the scales at an amazing 275 pounds, former world heavyweight and tag team champion, the Iron Sheik.
Alright, superstar Billy Graham versus the Iron Sheik. Now there's a high possibility that these two would have wrestled each other at some point in their careers. I mean, although like superstar Billy Graham was basically the 70s version of Hulk Hogan. Oh, goodness me. Oh, for a moment I thought he was going for a pedigree, but no, just a slick pile driver, double underhook pile driver. Nice. But yeah, superstar Billy Graham, the 70s prototype of what eventually became of Hulk Hogan, former WWE champion. You know, the man was charismatic to, you know, to high heaven. He looked cool, tie-dye shirts and everything. You know, highly muscular and everything. Obviously, must be regretting, you know, certain choices these days. But hey, you know, that's what he was, you know, an Iron Sheik, former WWE champion as well, and, you know, the transitional champion for the immortal one to come, and win the WWE Championship at Madison Square Garden because reasons, of course. You know, and then there's the everlasting rumour that I don't know if this is true. I don't want to know if it's true. Obviously, we'll never be able to hear from Sheiky Babe anymore. You know, rest in peace to the Iron Sheik. But we'll never know if this is true or not. But there was legend, rumour, innuendo that during the end of the match between Hogan and Sheik, that allegedly, right, Sheik had an erection at the end of the match. Like I said, whether it's true or not is up for rumour, speculation, you know, is up to interpretation. If that's what you want to believe, that's what you want to believe, you know. But yeah, that's apparently the whole deal with Sheiky Babe. But Iron Sheik became incredibly outspoken, especially towards one Hulk Hogan. Let's go for a quick pin. Ooh, kick out one. I really don't like these sharp camera movements. But yeah, Sheik was the transitional champ, defeating Hulk Hogan, Vince McMahon, the junior edition of Vince McMahon, not senior, junior. Envisioned the WWE taking a whole new step and decided, you know, yeah, we're going to go with something new, we're going to go with something different, you know. And it was the beginning of his conquest, hijacking superstars. He recognised the potential of one Hulk Hogan at the top of the industry, since he, you know, gained a lot of popularity thanks to, say, Rocky III, and his rise in popularity in AWA, being screwed of the AWA World Heavyweight Championship on one or two occasions or something like that. But yeah, like, Hogan ended up becoming WWE champion and held that belt hostage for 4 years. I say that, you know, flippantly, because obviously without that particular booking decision, then we never would have got, say, WrestleMania, Hulkamania, the whole, you know, golden era of the 80s. Oh wow, you know, we never got the golden era of the 80s. You know, there's a whole lot to it as well that goes. You know, that goes about it. So, okay, so rope breaks do count in this. But yeah, we never got the whole golden era and everything like that. Hogan would never have jumped to WCW, never would have got the, you know, WCW World Heavyweight Championship, and held that belt hostage 6 times. You know, there's a whole whole myriad of like what if scenarios suddenly go out the window of what if Hulk Hogan had never won the WWE Championship and never, you know, ascended WWE into the absolute godhood that it went to, you know. I mean, it's really cute now, you know, the wrestlers, the heels anyway. And I did enjoy how, like, Sheiky Baby was constantly telling the fans, you know, screw you and all that good stuff, you know. It was neat, let's just put it that way. Right, let's finish you off once and for all, Sheiky Babe. Got other things I need to get on with today. It's been nice. Nice, that's all I can say. Well, Sheiky Babe, you're not exactly listening to instruction. I know you were somewhat, you know. Ooh, another thing about Sheiky Babe, before I want to get in, allegedly he was offered a lot of money to screw over Hulk.
1, 2, 3. Ring the bell.
Yeah, I just wanted to get this in. Apparently he was offered a lot of money allegedly he was offered a lot of money. I forget who it was from. I think it might have been Vern Gagne. Don't quote me on this, you know, it's a rumour. Now he was offered something like $250,000 to break Hulk Hogan's leg to make sure he didn't become the WWE champion, you know, and I forget the reasons why the Iron Sheik chose not to do it, but it's one of those, you know, rumours that continue to fly around the wrestling, you know, mythosphere, shall we call it? What a weird word, mythosphere. Anyway, so that's Legends of Wrestling. Does it play well? Not really. Does it hold up? Not really. It's kind of slow, sluggish, you know. Every time you hit a button, it just seems like it takes a while for it to kind of like respond. You know, it would have been a nice alternative if you weren't a WWE fan, you know, and there wouldn't have been a different, unless you were going with, say, like Fire Pro Wrestling, if you could get your hands on them outside of Japan. You know, there wasn't really any real wrestling game alternatives out there, you know. And TNA wouldn't release their game until 2009 or 2010. You know, a good 7, 8 years after they formed, you know. But yeah, that's Legends of Wrestling for you. So, as always, if you like the video, give it a like, share the video as well, because more shares, more views, more that the channel continues to grow, and the more I get to do this for you. Subscribe to our -1 Entertainment if this is your first time on the channel. Don't forget to check out all of the other content that's currently available, because you never know, there might be something that you like. And if you do subscribe, hit that notification bell so you are notified about any and all content that goes live onto the channel. Finally, drop me a comment below, and I will see you guys next time for some more 1, 2, 3 count main event wrestling. Take it easy, everyone.